The expectation of that message is what we call the ways of the cross. If you have believed the message, if you have understood the implication, then there is a way you ought to live your life. And that's what Jesus told us in Luke 9:23. If you want to follow me, he said you must deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me. There are many Christians who have never denied themselves. In fact, the Christianity that was sold to them is a false Christianity. It's a Christianity of self-preservation, self-aggrandizement, self-glorification, everything outside of Christ. If you will live the life of the cross, self-denial and sacrifice will become your lifestyle. Paul was speaking in 1 Corinthians 15:31. He said, I die daily. That's a man who knows the cross. I die daily. That's self-denial. Now let me show you what you will die to, so that you don't just say, oh, he said self-denial. Self-denial has a meaning. And there are 7 things you deny yourself to. Number 1 is from sinful and inordinate pleasures. There are many Christians that the things that excite them is what excites the world. That's why most of you are big fans of Big Brother Naija. You'll sit on it for 3 months. You'll watch until you know all the stars. You even go and follow them on Instagram. People who are propelling seduction to a generation because you don't know the cross. Job said, I had a covenant with my eyes. He said, my eyes will not look upon the virgin. If you know the cross, there are desires you will kill in your life because it's an act of worship. 1 Peter 2:11. Beloved, I urge you as sojourners and exiles, abstain from passions of the flesh, which wages war against your soul. Abstain. That's the cross. It's not an easy task, but the grace that the cross provides is what you fortify yourself with and say, no, I'm not part of it. You find Christians, they say, oh, night of 1,000 laughs. Which laugh? If you want to laugh, go and pray in tongues. You will laugh in the spirit. Night of 1,000 laughs, and they are making caricature with sacred things. And a Christian is there laughing. Ha, ha, ha. When they are making light of sacred things. If you were able to laugh, you are worse than an infidel. I'm telling you why our Christianity has no more power and authority in the demonic realm. We are talking, but Satan knows where to cripple us. Are you not the one shouting on the altar? Finish speaking in tongues. Come back, let's go home. You are on pornography season 5. And you come to the altar. And the princes are saying, no, it's a drama, it's an actor. He acts in church. That's his script he's playing. When you are done, they meet you where it matters. And like I told you, why some of us are casting our crowns before the King of Kings, others are casting their crowns before harlots. Because we were not taught the cross, we will not war against flesh. The Bible said in Colossians 5:16, it said the spirit is against the flesh and the flesh is against the spirit. In 1 Corinthians 9:27, Paul said, I beat my body. Because the body won't let you, but you beat it. He said, I bring it under subjection, so that when I have preached the gospel, I should not be a castaway. In 1 Timothy 2:19, he said, the standard of the Lord standeth sure. He said, therefore, the Lord knows them that are his. It's within the premise of the cross that God knows his messengers. We are not messengers of God because we are blessed. We are not messengers of God because we receive money, we receive healing. We become messengers of God when we can beat our body and keep to the standards of God. He said, for in a great house, he said, there are many vessels. We can be many. It doesn't mean we are usable. He said, some are unto honor. He said, some are unto dishonor. He said, it doesn't matter what you are made of. It can be gold, it can be wood, it can be clay. That does not matter. He said, if a man purges himself, That's where the battle of cross comes. That's why you carry your cross daily. If a man purges himself from this thing, he said that man is qualified. That man is meat for the master's use. You think our number moves God? Our number does not move God. Yes, the glory of the king is in the multitude of the people. But what is the quality of men that stand on the sides of God? The Bible speaking in 1 Corinthians 6:17, it said, come out from among them. It said, touch not the unclean things. It said, they that bear the vessels of God, they must be clean. We think kingdom is cheap. The Bible said, if you have not resisted to the point of shedding blood, who told you you have capacity? Peter was speaking in 1 Peter 4:1. He said, if you have suffered in the flesh, he said you have ceased from sinning. There are men who through the cross have stopped the appetites of sin. He said, arm yourself with this mind. The same way Christ suffered in the flesh. He said, who? Him that have suffered in the flesh. I know it looks like if you don't watch that pornography, you will die there. He said some of them died in faith. That's what makes you a gallant soldier. This appetite may be here, but I won't see it, even if I have to die. If you need to travel, if you need to invite friends to come and live with you for 3 days, praying in tongues until that appetite dies, you will do it. That day will not come when you gratify the affections of sin. But Christians don't know the cross. They think Christianity is just come and receive prophecy. That's why we are not raising men that God can trust with nations. We are not raising men that God can trust with money. We are not raising men that God can trust with the heritage of a generation, because we compromise even when we are not tempted. You must die to inordinate affections, fleshly desires. The Bible said he wages war against your soul. That's why some of you are prophets who never manifest, apostles never manifest, leaders never manifest, because the powers of your soul have been shut down by fleshly desire. 5 hours every day, pornography, masturbation, immorality. Every 1 month you are confessing you are a child. And he said, so long as you are a child, he said, you are not different from a servant. He said, so God places you under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. But for those who have become sons, God is giving nations to them. Nations. When God distributes nations, make sure you are there. When God distributes mantles, make sure you are there. Don't be a child that is thrown down by masturbation, thrown down by pornography. There is a verdict of the cross. If you must follow me, you must deny yourself and carry your cross daily. The second dimension of self-denial is worldly lust. In James chapter 4 verse 4, it says, you are adulterous generation. He said, don't you know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Some of you, although God has reunited you to himself, you have made yourself an enemy of God. Christians, every Friday they are in a clubhouse. They go and sit down and they are drinking alcohol. The ways of the world. You see a Christian dresses, he's like a harlot, because you don't know that friendship with the world is enmity with God. In 1 John chapter 2 from verse 15, it says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. God forbid that I love the same thing that a worldly person loves. God forbid. That's why you find Christians who are blinded. On the job, they can't receive divine strategies. On the business, they can't receive divine strategy, because the soul has been shut down. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man loves the world, he said the love of the Father is not in him. What is in the world? The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. He said these things shall pass away. He said, but they that love the Lord, they shall abide forever. When you carry the cross and journey in the way of the cross, you become like an immortal. Your testimony will outlive you. That's what the patriarchs of old did in the days of scripture. The Bible said from the time of John, because he was the only voice that never compromised, from the days of Noah. The whole generation went the way of rebellion. He said, but Noah was a just man. When God commanded, he moved. Such men can't die. Their lives become like a testimony. The legacies of immortals. Everywhere the gospel is preached, their name must be mentioned. Because everywhere you die, it becomes a memorial in the spirit. A landmark for generations to know the witness of God. Don't be part of them. There are some Christians here. If something is happening in the world, they will leave church and go there. They will violate their prayer time and go there. This match they are playing today now, some Christians will never pray or come to church because of the match. It's not a sin, but it's love for this world. It's the lust of the eyes. The lust. The cross must circumcise your eyes, circumcise your flesh, if you will stand among the warriors of heaven. The third area of self-denial is in pride and the pride of life. Pride is an exaggerated estimation of yourself. Why pride of life is glorying in things, the act of glorying in things. Paul said, I glory in nothing save the cross of Jesus. There are many Christians today, they have an exaggerated estimation of themselves. They don't say what God says they are. They say what they think they are. And there are other Christians today, their life's value anchor on what they have. So because he has a car, he thinks he's an important person. Because he has a job, he's working with the government, he thinks it's important. Shame on you. We stand on things that are eternal. It's not my position in government that gives me a place with God. It's not the car I drive that gives me a place in God. It's not the money in my account. What is my glory? Christ in me is the hope of glory. If you are in that position where any little thing you have boosts your pride, you don't know the cross. Let nothing change your attitude except the knowledge of Jesus Christ. If money changes your attitude, if position changes your attitude, if men change your attitude, you don't know the cross. There are some people who are so useless that if they stand with a man and snap, they feel they have arrived. Some people they have no value, that if they travel to certain nations and come back, they think they have arrived. What a shame. When men are encountering God every day, when men are going to heaven and coming back, you go to London, you come back, you think you have arrived. What a life of vanity. Pride. That thing that makes you behave like a peacock will deny you your rank with God. Thank God for what he blesses us with. Human connection, money, resources, positions. But we will never anchor our values on those things. Because if we can do all things, it is through Christ that is in us. That's the source of our confidence. You must die to things so that pride and pride of life is uprooted. Number 4 thing you will die to is love of money. 1 Timothy 6:10, it said the love of money is the root of all evil. Some people will kill for money. Do you know that some people take human life because of 10,000 naira? Human life. 10,000 is not up to $1. They kill for it. Money. Some people have become adulterers and fornicators because of 20,000 naira. The love of money is the root of all evil. If you don't die to money, you don't know the cross. You must come to a point where money is an errant resource in your hand. You need money, but you don't love money. There are many things that is advanced through money. So you need money to run those errands. But if money will make you compromise, God forbid. Did you not read your Bible? The only thing God was equated with was mammon. To show you how powerful that thing has enslaved men. Money. This is why pastors are lying every day, trying to make friends with governors and senators, and they can't tell them the truth. because they are looking for change. See, come to that point where if God empowers you financially, thank him. But if he doesn't empower you, even if it's under a tree, do what you are doing with joy. Your value is not in where you are, it's in who lives inside you. Die to the love of money. Number 5, die to ambitions. Anything that makes you wander away from God is an ambition. If you don't die to those things, not too long, you will gain the whole world and lose your soul. I want to graduate with first class. It's good. But if that's the reason why you will bribe or sleep with a lecturer, then first class is not worth it. I want to be a professor at 35. Good. But if that's the reason why you will bribe, then it's not worth it. I want to be a leader in my generation. Good. But if that's the reason why you bow to idol, it's not worth it. The cross refuses that. Ambitions. Number 6, die to food and every appetite that takes your time. Many Christians can't fast because of their belly, and the first man fell because of food, and men are still falling because of food. Some is their time. They don't have control over their time. Their time rule them. That's why they can't pray. That's why they can't serve God. Die to those things. He said for some, their destruction is their belly, because their God is their belly. Number 7, forgiveness for the sake of Christ. Die to bitterness and unforgiveness. Die to it. That's why I told you, you don't forgive people because they are worth it. You forgive people because you too were forgiven. In Romans 5:8, they said, God commends his love towards us, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. So you are not forgiving that brother because he apologized. You are not forgiving that sister because he's worth it. I'm not saying go and make a mess of yourself. Forgiveness is different from making them your friends. But don't hold any grudge in your heart with anybody. Let go. For Christ's sake. For Christ's sake. For Christ's sake. Ephesians 4:32. He said, be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God, for Christ's sake, has forgiven you. So the reason you forgive people is for Christ's sake. He has not apologized. He has not shown remorse. Those things are not necessary. You forgive for Christ's sake. That's what the cross teaches us. It's the way of the cross. See, many people are preaching cross. They don't know it. They don't know it. You have not died to passions of the flesh, sexual desires. You have not died to ambition. You have not died to money. You have not died to pride and pride of life. You have not died to worldly lust and worldly desires. You don't know the cross. And finally, die to stinginess. You must become generous, because the life you live now, you don't live for yourself. Galatians 2:20. You live for the Son of God that gave himself for you. Many Christians can't help nobody. They can't support any cause. Their whole life is all about themselves. That's why they can never be powerful. You know the cross? You want to see the power of the cross? Self-denial must become the code of your life. You must die to sexual, inordinate sexual and sinful desires. You must die to worldliness. I'm not saying detach from the world. You live in the world. But I'm saying don't let the elements of your environment control you. You find a Christian who should be winning souls. He watches all the matches in a season. Come what may, he can shut down evangelism, shut down prayer for match. You are a slave of this world. You don't know the cross. You must die to ambitions. Anything that takes you away from God. You must die to pride and pride of life. You must die to stinginess. And you must die to unforgiveness. This is the cross. And this is the life God has called us into. This is what will bring us into victory, glory, and dominion.